Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. I know I'll be saying that again, but we're behind the scenes. Look for another 3.5 minutes before we go live on the radio station with KCAA. I have a wonderful guest, so we're going to sit and chill a bit, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say it again, the whole spill. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. But I had to get him, seen because I love to do behind the scenes things. I promised y'all. So, I just wanted to let you know that we have less than 3 minutes, and what else? Once we go live, I'm gonna 2 minutes, actually 2 minutes. So yeah, I'm trying to edit your stuff this weekend. That way I can send it to those platforms. I'm gonna jump you in front of 200 people because I have 200 people that I need to do this for.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah. And so I'm gonna put you in the front of the queue because you have basically it's a prime time spot. This is a radio station spot that I pay for. And I
Mhm.
like to get good people onto my show to build my portfolio. And that's how I do it. You
Well, I'll
know,
do my best to make it worth it.
yeah, I hope so. I'm just like, but
No pressure, right?
yeah, I know. Yeah. So you stay in good old Canada? Is it in a rural area or what is it?
I'm over on the west coast of Canada on Vancouver Island.
Is that like 7 hours away from Toronto or something?
Like 5 hours. 5 hours
Oh,
flying away from 5.5 from Toronto. Yeah.
good. Is it snowing?
No. I'm basically just north of Seattle. So it's about an hour and a half north of Seattle by car.
Okay, hold on for a second. Hold that thought. We're 30 seconds in. 10. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. I have a very special guest here for the show today. Can you go ahead and announce to the world who you are and where you're calling from?
Sure. I'm Warren Miles Pickup. I'm one of the owners, the chief marketing officer and chief operations officer for Pixel True Design Studio, as well as Pixel Copy copywriting company and Pixel Publishing self-publishing agency. I am on Vancouver Island in Canada, and incredibly grateful that you've had me on your show today.
Thank you. And can we go ahead? I know you're eager to talk about your past, leading up into your present and future.
Sure. Where would you like me to start? I
You can
big
start
story.
childhood,
Yeah.
funny segments or whatever you want to talk about.
Sure. Yeah. I grew up in Vancouver, which was a small town at the time, not so small since the 2010 Olympics, and the city has exploded and become one of the most expensive places in the world to live. Grew up in West Vancouver, went to a school called St. George's, and then off to the University of British Columbia. Did a bachelor's degree in urban geography, so intentional originally planned on becoming a real estate developer until I realized that you needed capital to be a real estate developer. Went a completely different direction and wound up in banking and finance. Spent over 17 years working in finance, sold a little over $2 billion of product working in the finance industry. Received numerous accolades and awards from Wealth Professional Magazine and Wealth Professional Awards. Was published in the Vancouver Sun and a number of other magazines and news publications, and then wound up leaving that because I needed a bit more flexibility in my life. I have a daughter who has some serious mental health issues, that sort of thing, and needed to be home. I was in my previous career, I was traveling about 120 nights a year. I'd be in hotel rooms, and that just wasn't compatible with the life that I needed to live. So then ventured into entrepreneurship and now own Pixel True, Pixel Copy, and Pixel Publishing, which are three distinct businesses: a design agency, a copywriting business, and a self-publishing agency, where I help companies and individuals to grow their digital brands and to engage with their audience and to make sure that they are putting their best foot forward with regards to their appearance in what is now a digital world.
Well said. And tell
Thank
me
you.
about, you're welcome. Can you tell me about your marketing and market sales? And then I want to kind of dip on mental health. I don't want to get too much in your business, but I have mental health. So I wanted to relate that. So you
Yeah.
can tell me about your marketing and market sales, what you do.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we do a lot of different things for marketing. Mostly our job is to help businesses with their marketing, is to identify gaps in whether it be a product staircase or gaps in the way that they present their brand to their ideal customers, and help them to fill those holes and make sure that the traffic that they're driving to their digital presence is being turned into active and engaged users, to customers that are experiencing the brand the way that they want them to, so that they are ready to make a purchasing decision. So taking a brand's image from being something that just sits there to something that a user is driven to engage with, using emotive language, using heuristics, so the cognitive biases that we have in our brain for the decision-making process, and making sure that the individuals that are witnessing the brand are being taken right through the customer journey to purchasing whatever the product or service may be that's in their best interest to purchase or to enjoy.
Take me on a journey of the hardship that you and your wife have to go through with your daughter.
Absolutely. Yeah. It much like a lot of things in our lives, it started during COVID. She was bullied. She was only about 8 years old at the time. And we found this out when she came home and started to really present these symptoms of self-hatred and self-loathing. I was traveling a lot and not around as much as I should have been, and it was a very challenging time. So we went through a lot of times where we had to put away all the sharp objects, and we had to be constantly monitoring her because she was telling us, these things that she wanted to do to herself. And we really collapsed in on ourselves to try and protect our family. We've changed schools. We wound up changing locations. We moved from the hustle and bustle of Vancouver over to a small little community of about 3,000 people on Vancouver Island. I changed professions, took time off for stress leave in order to be home with her. And we have been through a lot over the past 3 years since it started, and we have good days and bad days. But I would say now we're at a point where the episodes of self-loathing and self-hatred for her are significantly shorter. We've learned the skills from therapists and counselors and psychologists on how to help her to transition from those moments of self-loathing back into a position where she can adjust and emotionally calm herself and use the techniques that are required in order to de-escalate situations.
Well said, and I'm sorry to hear that, and I'm glad to know everything is getting
Thank you.
better.
I appreciate that.
I wanted to suggest something. I don't know if they have it in Vancouver, but somebody told me, I heard from a birdie, just put it to you like that they have this new technology that young adults, you can just put it on her head, and basically she can play video games or do whatever she do, and they monitor and they send, like, I know it sounds weird, but they send like frequencies to her brain, and it helps her with depression. But you can check it out. It's some type of it's therapeutic, and then they monitor her brain wave chemistry. And
Interesting.
yeah, very interesting. And it don't cost that much. So
I
I
will definitely do that. I did some I'm trying to remember what the name of it was. It's a neuro stimulant therapy in Vancouver for myself, because I was suffering from mental health issues along with her because of I don't want to call it trauma, but the experiencing what she was going through put us through a lot, and it put her sisters through a lot. And so I went and got a lot of therapy in order to deal with the issues that were going on inside of me and my reaction to the challenges that my daughter was facing. And one of those things was a neuro programming sort of thing, where it's a specific frequencies and that sort of thing that are meant to help you address certain emotions and certain feelings. And it was quite effective for me.
Good. I think that's what it is then. I never seen it and I never looked it up, but somebody told me about it and he was very thorough about it. And I was like, okay, that sounds like a very good thing to probably for me to, try. Everybody is different. And then you got the gold standard of cognitive behavior therapy, but they're trying like other therapies like frequency therapy. So it's fine with me. Don't get mad or embarrassed. So anyway, my second question is, tell me about you being in. I hope nothing but the best for you, and that's honest. I hope
Thank you
that
so much.
y'all go on and things get better. I nothing but up from here, and you're doing well. You've done excellent. So my
Thank
next
you.
question is, tell me about you being in leadership positions.
Sure. Yeah. I've been in a number of leadership positions through my career. I would say that my current one is probably one of the most rewarding, with a team of around 70 individuals in our design agency, our copywriting agency, that sort of thing. I get the opportunity to spend time with, we have a global talent pool that we pull from. So we have staff in the Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, Colombia, Argentina, all over the world. And I get to work with these amazing, incredibly talented people from all over the place, where there, is traditionally cultural barriers and different ways for discussing or for addressing topics. And I've gotten to spend a lot of time with people that I wouldn't necessarily have in the past. And in this leadership role, I get to go beyond just employing them, but being in more of a mentorship role and trying to give back as much as possible in teaching them the value of an owner's mindset. In moving away from just being an employee to employing this mindset where you have an ownership over your area of expertise within an organization, and how rewarding that is for both the employee or team member and the employer, because they're able to connect on the fundamentals of what's important both to each other as individuals, but also with regards to the business. And when you're pulling together as a team, you form this connection that is so much more powerful than just employee employer, and you wind up having a much better relationship, and the goals are so much easier to achieve because you're parallel in what you're trying to accomplish. And so I spend a lot of time with our team now trying to reinforce this idea of the owner's mindset with them, so that they're taking on the challenges that are in front of them and feeling accomplished when they complete them, rather than just feeling like they completed a task on their everyday list of to-dos.
Well said. Do you think that what kind of CEO you think you are? Like, do you think
Well, I mean, it's funny because I'm not actually the CEO. My business partner runs that side of the organization, so he looks over the global strategy of the organizations, whereas I'm more focused on how do we improve the operations of the organization. And a big part of improving the operations is dealing with the people, and making sure that those people are happy, that they enjoy where they are, that they feel fulfilled, that you're supporting them in their outside interests. So if there's an opportunity for them to go and do something that they're incredibly passionate about, giving them the opportunity to do so, because they're significantly more likely to want to stay with you if you're supporting all of the things that they're doing outside of the workplace. And so I would say, if I were a CEO, I would say I'm a CEO that is all about connecting with the people that work with me, in respecting the effort that they are putting in, that is rewarding me, because I'm taking advantage of that. I'm using time arbitrage. I am, paying them a certain amount and charging a client more for it. And so I have to recognize that they are the drivers of value for my organization. And if I don't treat them like they themselves are valued, then they're not going to stick around, because they'll go and start their own business. I have to be offering them something that they can't do. Otherwise, they'll go and do it themselves.
Well said. So you're like the in between that help ease the situation and like coach them on, you know, like basically you alleviate the problems that are going on, if there's any,
Yeah.
and you educate them on where they what they don't know,
Yeah.
and basically you have a cohesive relationship with them.
Ideally. I mean, it doesn't always work out that way, but it is, that's the idea. Um, I am constantly looking to ensure that that they're getting the most out of it, and that they're learning from the experience, that they're progressing in their career. Because if they stall, they're going to look for another opportunity. And so I have to constantly be bringing them with me in terms of the growth of the organization, and giving back to them.
Wow, that's great. And tell me, what types of integrating technology have you designed, Warren?
Integrating technology have I designed?
Or
Most of
know about, however you want to say it.
Yeah, I mean, most of our technology is about integration. It's about communication amongst our team, because we work in the creative industry. There is so much that can be lost in translation between creatives and clients. Because a creative can put together an incredible design or an incredible piece of writing, but if there isn't an explanation as to why they chose to do things that they did, the recipient, the client, won't necessarily understand why it looks different from maybe the way that they thought it should look. And so a lot of the pieces that we've put together in the utilization of technology or the development of different technologies has been about making that communication easier and more transparent, so that the client understands what we are trying to accomplish, and why, as an organization or as a creative team, we're choosing to do the things that we're doing. So if we're choosing, say, a color palette for a brand, right, we want that color palette to signify something, and to be emotive with regards to the how we want the customer to feel. The client may feel a totally different way. They want different colors. They want something that is, they feel pops. It's a pretty standard
That is how I talk.
terminology in our industry, but it doesn't necessarily fit the human psychology of what colors represent from a cognitive perspective. And so we then have to explain to the client, here's why we went away from what it was that you had requested. And here is the reasoning behind why we've designed things in this specific way. Here's why we structured a website or a landing page in a particular format. And it has to do with the utilization of heuristics and cognitive biases and those sorts of things. So everything we have done is really about the transparency of ideas from our creative team to the customer, so that they can understand why we're doing what we're doing.
Okay, okay. And tell me, how, I know why, but how are you a strategic thinker?
Oh, how am I a strategic thinker? Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. I I am a
Tell me what you
very
know.
yeah, I'm very much an ADHD individual. And
Good.
so
Good.
when I'm hyper focused on something, I am incredibly strategic. I know the process that I want to take. I study what it is to the nth degree. I know everything about it. It drives my wife crazy, because I completely hyper focus on something and can be incredibly strategic. If I don't have an interest in it, that's a huge problem, because I have zero capacity for thinking strategically about it because I just don't have the interest there. And so I have tried to surround myself with people that have different interests from myself or that have different skill sets from myself. As an example, my assistant is very different from myself. She's a law school graduate. You know, she's very analytical. She's very intelligent. And so she picks up the things that I'm just not going to do. I hate managing my inbox. It drives me crazy. I get 250 emails in it every morning by the time I wake up. And there is no way I'm going to go and spend the first hour of my day going through that. And there's no way that I could organize it. I can't. Oh my, I can't do it. And so Yovelli, my assistant, takes care of that for me. She goes through and flags the ones that I need to address, or even, and this is bad, sometimes I won't get to the ones she's flagged, so she'll bring it into another medium, into our communication in Telegram or something like that, and remind me of the things that need to be done there, because she's the one that's organized and she's the one that keeps me on track while I'm focused on the things that I need to be focused on. And I think being a strategic leader also means understanding where you have gaps and making sure that you find the people around you that can fill in those gaps.
I agree. Can you tell me about, are you into like the Dow Jones or stocks or bonds? Are you into that?
After 17 years in finance, if I wasn't, I'd probably be in a lot of trouble.
Go ahead, tell me about it, because I want to learn. We all want to learn. It's like 30,000 people online right now.
Sure. I mean, what would you like to learn about it? I mean, these are indexes. They're a representation of a group of publicly traded companies that represent a particular segment of the U.S. economy. So, you know, the S&P 500 is what's supposed to be 500 companies. It's very seldomly actually 500 companies, but it's a representation of the overall U.S. economy based on publicly traded companies. And so it moves up and down based on the purchasing and sales of those individual stocks.
Okay, well said. Okay, let me move on. Tell me about your book. I have to know.
Sure. Yeah. After leaving finance, and one of the reasons we started a publishing company, a self-publishing agency, was because I wanted to write a book. I knew that there was so much information that was trapped up in my head that I had gained after working with over 3,000 financial advisors as a consultant to those advisors. There was information that I wanted to be able to give them. And I was always being told that as a consultant to them, it was like drinking from a fire hose, because there was too much information in my brain that I wanted to give them all at once. And so I wrote a book called Marketing Motivation Workbook for Financial Advisors. And I wanted it to be something that was not a theoretical book. I wanted it to be a practical book. And so I turned it into a workbook. And so it's got the first 60 pages are incredibly condensed directions on how to utilize the remainder of the book. And it's all about accountability in the marketing efforts that financial advisors need to make on a daily basis. Finance and financial advisors are pulled in so many different directions. It is an insane job with regards to managing client expectations, dealing with compliance, understanding the economy and markets, understanding the products, the thousands and thousands of products that are put in front of you every day to choose from, that it is completely overwhelming. And the number one reason that financial advisors fail is just because they don't do the marketing. They don't have time for it. They get so caught up in, well, I need to know everything first. You know, before I can help anybody, I have to study all of this. And the reality is that if they just put one foot in front of the other with regards to their marketing activities every day, they will succeed, because there is this need for us to share this information with the public, because the vast majority of the public is making financial decisions that are counterintuitive or counterproductive to what they actually need to be doing. As humans, we make horrible financial decisions as a group. And so the there is a need for financial advice. There's huge problems in the financial advice industry. There's no getting around that. There's a lot of things that need to be fixed in that
Like what?
industry.
Like what?
Oh, you're going to ask me to name names, hey?
Not names, but just tell
No,
me.
no, no. I just in terms of poking the giant financial industry bear.
Go ahead.
The compensation structure for a lot of financial advisors is atrocious. It is counterproductive for the client, and
Okay.
it is causing so many problems.
Oh,
So there's a lot of issues in that industry, whether it be backroom deals or short-term trading, the movement towards looking at everything from a quarter by quarter basis, from long-term, it's innumerable. I could go on for hours talking about it, but anyways, back to the book. I wrote this with the idea that if people were to pick it up, if advisors were to pick it up every single day, it would be like their to-do list, their checklist of what do I need to do in order to accomplish my goals every single day. And so it is built in that manner. And that was one of the things that drove my company to launch Pixel Publishing. We don't necessarily work with financial advisors or anything like that. We specifically work with coaches and consultants and individuals that are looking to grow an audience, to build their authority, that have a unique idea, a unique concept that they want to share with the world. They want to get it out there. They want to utilize a book as a part of their overall personal branding process by giving people an easy way to engage with them by purchasing a book or by reading a chapter, and using that book as a way to get up in front of the pulpit, to share their story, to have the authority and clout to be able to get onto podcasts. That's what we're trying to build. We're trying to give a voice to those people that have something unique to say.
well said. And you took the words right out of my mouth with the vision and the mission, because that was my next question. So my next question after that is, what excerpts from your book are worthy of knowing for gaining information?
Well, if you're a financial advisor, there's a number of excerpts in there that would be valuable. But from a general, marketing and sales practicality, it's just do the activity. Right. That is the excerpt that is probably the most powerful. Get out of your own way and just do it. Right. Stop thinking about it. Stop strategizing and just go and do the activity, and you will find success in doing it. Activity drives success.
Okay. And I have to ask you this question, even though we talked about it before the show. So tell me, did you ever speak at TEDx? And if not, where did you speak at?
I have not spoken at TEDx. I would like to. That is on my list of goals for the future. But I've spoken all over the place. I've spoken in LA, Santa Barbara, Miami, Harvard, New York, Toronto, Regina, you name it, in North America. Chicago. I've spoken all over the place. Given my past career, I used to be flown all over North America to give presentations on financial planning topics, on investment management topics, on practice management topics in finance. And now I do a lot of podcast speaking about sales and marketing and leadership, those sorts of things.
How many people have you spoken in front of? This is crazy, because I can't even speak in front of 2 or more people. So tell me about that.
Largest event in person was probably around 600 people. But if you were to calculate the number of people that I've actually spoken to publicly, it'll be, I don't know, tens of thousands. I'm not sure. It's a lot.
I believe you. Okay, what is Pixel again? If you want to refresh people's memories, what is
Sure.
for those who don't know, so that they can start looking at your company and seeing what type of things you do? Because I know you addressed it in the beginning, but just refresh our memory.
Sure, I'd love to. I'm absolutely in love with our brand, so I'm happy to share it as many times as I possibly can. So Pixel True is kind of our our cornerstone company, and it's a design agency that is built to help people to take their brand and turn it into digital success. So to build out websites, landing pages, lead magnets, presentations, basically anything they need from a digital perspective to take what they have internally as a value and mission and all that sort of thing, and have it represented itself as a digital entity. So really bringing that brand to life for them, so that the user, when they engage with it, they have the same experience that the owner of that brand would want them to have.
Well said. And my next question is, tell me how you can change future generations with what you do now.
Ooh, that's a really good question. I would say that what we do now in helping people with a passion create, a digital brand and a digital presence allows anybody who is passionate about something to turn it into the profession that they want. And I repeat this to my kids all the time. With the way that the world is now, no matter what you do, you can turn it into a profession if you want to. If you care that much about it, you can find an audience and you can find a group of people that want to support you and want to purchase whatever it is that you are providing. Passion is what connects people now, because it is the only thing we cannot fake. Artificial intelligence cannot produce passion, right? And if you ever read the book Humans Are Underrated, fantastic book, by the way. It's about the future of the workplace and technology, and he argues that empathy is the only thing that technology will not be able to replace, because it can't feel those emotions. And I would take it a step further and say that passion is the thing that is going to drive success in the future, because it's infectious. If you're passionate about something, you will draw people to it. And what we're doing at Pixel True and Pixel Copy is we're giving the ability for those people that want to focus on their passion to do just that, while we take care of everything else, while we turn it into something that they can monetize and something that they can, create a profitable and realistic career off of.
Dang, wow. And my input on, to piggyback off of what you said about humans and artificial intelligence, you are right on the money. Here's the thing though, we are taught to feel emotions, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're taught to be sad, happy, angry, due to cognitive environmental factors. But if we can possibly for the future teach artificial intelligence like they done taught us how to find like cancerous moles on our skin,
Mm-hmm.
maybe we can help that artificial intelligence. But he's right about what he said. I agree with him, and that's something that we should help the artificial intelligence, because if we can make them smarter, they can help us in return. How do you feel about that theory?
I agree. I'm not entirely sure that, given the current models that are being used for artificial intelligence, which are essentially repetitive models, they're spitting back what has the data that has been put into it. I'm
Yeah.
not sure that it's at a place where it will be able to elicit emotion or be able to create passion the way that an individual can. It can't mirror you. Like, there's a lot of things from um, a psychological perspective that it can't do in connecting with people. But maybe in the future, and future variations or variants of these different large language models and multi-language models, maybe we'll be able to see it understand emotions, or if nothing else, it'll just be able to take the emotion from writing or from content and bring it into its understanding of a situation. But I'm not sure it will be able to then elicit that emotion from others. I think that's where the gap will be. And so I think of secure professions being the ones where we are helping somebody else to make a choice, because most of our choices are emotionally driven. They're not, some of them are logically driven, but emotion is a significant proponent or a cause of many of our decisions. And those individuals that help others make decisions by whether it's reining in emotions or whether it's embracing those emotions, that's the location where employment is likely to continue. So you look at the influencer community or psychologists and all these sorts of things. Those are areas where there's a high barrier to entry for technology to replace humanity.
Understood. Well said, by the way. And let's go back way to where like doctors were doing their dissertations before the typewriters off of just pieces of paper, and then we have we advanced to copy machines, were not copy machines but typewriters. Then it was the square computer, and then it became laptops. One laptop I would like to get them to create, a laptop with a printer embedded in it. That way, maybe 10 or 30 pages, but for the professional that likes to be on the go, what do you think about that?
I think it's very doable. I mean, there's printers now where you're using a paper and it's just heat that is causing the marks on the paper, and so you could essentially attach that to the bottom of a laptop and have a feed of paper that goes in, and it just heats it to leave the black type on the paper as it slides through underneath your laptop. I don't think we're very far from something like that. Technology is moving so fast now; it is unbelievable.
Well said. And the funny thing is, I know they have the bots coming out. Tesla have his robots technology, and then you got NVIDIA. They're competing. And so I'm like, I bought my son a NVIDIA game, and it's very advanced. It's a gaming system. So this was like 10, 12 years ago. But now I wonder, are we ever going to have computers where they have legs or something, like.
Sure.
I know they're getting tired of just being a laptop. We buy them like slaves, I don't know.
I don't think we're that far from having, Jetson-esque, robots that are walking around our homes and cleaning up after ourselves. I mean, to an extent, we already have a lot of these things. If you look at the robo vacuums and robo lawnmowers and all these sorts of things, with the introduction of LiDAR technology. And
what's LiDAR?
It's like a laser-based GPS system. So or a laser-based radar. So it can measure everything around it in like a 360 type view and to ensure that it's not going to bump into anything. It's what the technology of a lot of the autonomous driving vehicles are using now. And it's very rapid response, and they connect that into GPS technology and all these sorts of things. And we're really not far from that type of technology taking place and being around us in a consumer world. As technology gets cheaper and cheaper, as battery power that's cheaper and stronger, all of these things are just leading to this massive technological revolution that's going to take place and replace a lot of the things that we're having to do on a daily basis.
Do you think we will have a boom, a technology boom, when we start building our microchips here instead of I think it's Taiwan?
Yeah, Taiwan Semiconductors is the largest manufacturer of those chips. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that there's a good answer for that. I don't think it will make that much of a difference. I think from a geopolitical perspective, it will make a big difference in terms of the way that the United States deals with Taiwan and China, that sort of thing. I don't know if the U.S. necessarily has the technology and the infrastructure to support the level of production that takes place in Taiwan right now. Otherwise, it already would have done it. Because it is such a massively specialized industry. But, will it happen in the future? Sure. Particularly if you get a global military conflict, there won't be a choice but to change supply logistics and start manufacturing things inside of the United States, which will be great for the U.S. In terms of boosting up employment in high-tech industries, that sort of thing. The one challenge, and this is the inner economist in me coming out, is that it will also lead to much higher prices in the United States. So you'll get wages going up, but you'll also get prices going up because the cost of labor in the United States is significantly higher than what you have outside of the United States. So in order to balance that out, you've got to charge higher prices. So you're going to get inflation being pressured because you're bringing that back on shore. In addition to that, there's all kinds of other issues that can take place in terms of quality and, unionization and all of that. So there's a lot to it. It's a bouncing ball that's not just one bouncing ball, right? It's 1,000 bouncing balls all taking place at once, and they all impact each other as they bounce off of each other.
Okay, and I have another question before I start answering my scripted questions. I have another question. Electrical vehicles versus gasoline, but here's the twist. What about what about the Chinese vehicles that are coming to the market now? Tell me, do you think Tesla is going to go like downhill, or do you think that it's going to be sort of a like plateau or probably raise in the future? What do you think?
I don't know if there's a right answer to any side of this, but
I want to know.
So here's my thought. There's no way to answer this where you are always going to be right, because the users of gas vehicles are going to say, well, it's efficient to utilize gas. We've got it already. We don't have to put in all this new infrastructure. And gas is still relatively inexpensive in comparison to utilizing large scale electricity to power vehicles. There's a lot of problems that come with electrical vehicles in terms of range anxiety and all these sorts of things. At the same time, from an environmental efficiency perspective, electric vehicles are fantastic. You're not having to have this massive carbon footprint from bringing oil out of the ground and burning it and these sorts of things. But there's also the materials that are required to build an electric vehicle, whether that be, the battery materials, whether it be the metal, whether it be the plastics that are going into all of the things inside of the vehicle. No matter what we do, we are harming the environment. It's inevitable. Whether you buy an electric vehicle or you buy a gas vehicle, you are doing some form of harm to the environment. It's a matter of, do you believe that the electric vehicle will do less harm to the environment over an extended period of time versus a gas vehicle? And the answer is yes, it will do less harm to the environment. Is it a massive disparity between the two? Probably not. That there is some disparity, but it's not as huge as a lot of the environmental pundits would like us to think. I think that I drive a plug-in hybrid vehicle, so I have both a gas engine,
electrical vehicle.
Yeah. I have a gas engine and an electric engine. And the beauty is that I get the ability to do short trips just on electric. But if I want to go farther, I have a gas engine inside of it that allows me to go that further distance. So I'm getting the best of both worlds. And I think that as long as we're continually making advancement with regards to trying to protect the environment, doing small things. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. It can be just small changes that we make in the way that we do things to have an impact. It doesn't take everybody cutting out all environmental degradation to make an impact.
Do you think that we should start? I mean, because Tesla has SpaceX too, and he's going out of space back to back to back. And I don't know the reason why. You probably do, but my question is, do you think we should start supporting and looking more harder, should I say, for life with better resources than us, so we can start utilizing and exchanging resources to maintain a better model and more environmental friendly things, so we can live a better equality of life? He's just not going out of space, just saying, geez, I'm out of space. You know what I'm saying? What are you going out of space that many times for? You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, originally he was challenging NASA's economics with regards to putting satellites in the sky, right? Because it was ridiculously expensive to get NASA to put satellites up into space. And so he said, I can do this for like 1/10 of the cost. And he did. You know, he proved that bloated government bureaucratic organizations have huge amounts of cost to them, legacy costs with regards to research and development and all those sorts of things. But to continue to do it based on the technology we have now was not efficient for American companies. And so SpaceX made it much cheaper for companies to put those satellites up in space in order to give us all the benefits that communication medium allows for us. His further ideas of travel into space and colonizing Mars and potential other planets, I think is something that we have to look at. I mean, if our population continues to grow, there is only so much that will be sustainable on this planet. Technological advancements have proven that every time we've set a goalpost for this is the most number of people we can have, we develop something in order to move the line. But at some point, the amount of pressure on the environmental system on our planet is going to start to get to a max, a point where it is going to be significantly harder to maintain it. And so having off-planet resources or another planet for population to move to makes a lot of sense. It is an end goal, and interplanar travel, intersolar system travel are all things that we likely should aspire to, if nothing else, just because curiosity is a very good thing. It has led to incredible advancements for humanity, and I don't think we should ever begrudge somebody their curiosity.
You know, well said. But the funny thing is, Einstein said the best, smartest person are the ones who are curious about everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I just had to say that. But Jeff Bezos, last question, and then we're going to move scripted. But Jeff Bezos versus Elon Musk, because he has a space cadet type thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, what's your input on that? Just Jeff Bezos versus Elon Musk. What are you read a lot? What are they both doing that's different? Yes, I can tell, and I love to learn. What are they doing that's both different in perspective to what they're doing out of space? Because you got NASA, Elon Musk, and Jeff Bezos. They're all going out of space on different terms.
Yeah.
So what's your input?
I mean, one is really meant to be more of like a tourist piece where it's about generating revenue by giving people an experience. And
I remember,
don't get me wrong, there is a heavy level of altruism in that tourist experience, because if you can get people interested in it, you can get people investing in it, you can get people wanting to discover more. It's the same reason that we have zoos and aquariums and those sorts of things. It's about giving people a taste of something so that they can embrace an interest in it, right? If you didn't have a local aquarium or a local zoo, you wouldn't necessarily be interested in the animals of a completely different part of the world. But by seeing them and seeing the impact that, whether it be pollution or environmental degradation or any of these things, is having on that population, you may not necessarily want to get actively involved in protecting that animal species. And by giving people an experience, travel in any aspect, is a cultural experience that produces an interest in a different people. And by giving people the experience, whether it be touristic or whatever of space, you are gaining more interest in that activity, and you're going to cause people to put more interest, more political pressure, more of their personal economics into that being a part of their future life. And so if we're experiencing lower level space, we're going to want to experience higher level space. We're going to want to experience traveling to the moon. We're going to want to experience doing all these things. And so we're then going to apply pressure to political government, or to our governments and to our political entities, to support those types of activities, which is the end intention, is to get a broader and broader reach for humanity.
God, that is so cool what you just said. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. And so the next question, I won't even comment. The next question is, yeah, tell me, how can you, no, what are your main visions for your youngest when they step into your shoes when you get older and saying, Sonny boy, come here, Go ahead.
So I have 3 daughters, and how which direction should I take this question? One of my biggest goals is to help create a world where they're not looked at as females, but rather as people.
Yeah.
And so they're not being measured based on the sexual organs that they have, because frankly, who cares? They're people first and women second. And don't get me wrong, there's going to be a lot of people that hate that comment and that feel it's wrong to just equalize everything because there are historical gender imbalances, and there's still a system of patriarchy within our legal system and our criminal system and our business system and all these sorts of things. Yes, I agree, they all need to be torn down, but that's the idea, is actual transparent equality. So that's my hope for them. But my underlying hope is that they do whatever it is that makes them happy, that they have a passion for, that they enjoy spending their days doing. That's all I want. If they can just go and do what they want to do happily and not have to feel like, oh my God, I'm only doing this because of this, right? I want them to get up every day and go, I really like this. I'm really happy with where my life is at. Then I think as a father and as a leader, and then I've succeeded.
Wow, you are so smart. I love this conversation.
I
So
just play smart on TV. That's it.
great. I do too. Tell me, where do you see yourself in the future? Okay.
Oh, hopefully right here. You know what? After having spent so many years traveling all the time, spending a third of the year in hotel rooms, I am a total homebody now. And I love being at home with my wife, with my 2 dogs, with my 3 kids, right? I am close by them. I'm able to respond if something's going wrong. I am there to help them. At the same time, I'm not a helicopter parent, and I don't believe in helicopter parenting. I know that they need to experience their own failures, that failing is a part of finding success. But I want to be there when things go so wrong that they can't recover from it, that I can be that safety net for them. So I really hope in 5 or 10 years, I'm still here doing this, sharing a message that I'm passionate about and helping people. I am a huge advocate for value first. I think if I can make every interaction I have with somebody valuable to that other person, then I will have done something great.
Okay. Okay. And under 1 minute before I close and say, how can the people reach you? Are you attached to the Chamber of Commerce or any companies that deal with advancing, companies to the next level?
Sorry, can you repeat that one?
Okay, are you with the Chamber of Commerce, like in your area, or any group setting that gets together on a daily basis and they go over things to advance their companies?
I'm not. I'm not.
I think you are, but
haven't
you're
been.
doing good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, you know what? I just do good on my own, and if somebody wanted to invite me to one of those, I would likely attend. But I get so caught up in making sure that every interaction I have right now is incredibly positive that I just haven't gone to those types of events.
Warren Miles pick up, everybody. I just have to give you a round of applause, man.
Well, thank you, Kimberly. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. The last question. I hate to see you go, but how can the people reach you?
I mean, you can look me up anywhere, Warren Miles Pickup. There's only 8 Miles Pickups in the world, so you will find me if you put my name in the internet. But the best place to find me is probably by email at warren@pixeltrue.com. That's my email address. Happy to share it. Reach out if you want to talk to me. Websites are pixeltrue.com, pixelcopy.xyz, and pixelpublishing.xyz.
Okay, stay on the line for a second. You guys, you take care, and I thank all of you for watching my show today. You know, I am so happy that you all decided to tune in and be a part of the Kimberly Cloud Show. Take care, you guys. Stay on the line. Thank you.